In today's episode, the corporate bootlicker customer. TSA destroyed my shoes. Guy sues due to missing part and injury. I am thankful for my patience. Customer come in less than 5 minutes to close for something he doesn't need for days. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. The corporate bootlicker customer. This is quite an old one. I used to work grocery. At my store, we had the breakroom at the back, which toward the end of my employment I rarely used because I had a boss who was a micromanaging ashat and loved to call people over the intercom who were on their breaks. If I never had to hear his voice again, it'd be too soon. Maybe one day I'll post the amount of BS he pulled. Anyway, and outside there was a small bench off to the side of the store, and well away from the front doors, that a lot of the employees used to smoke breaks. During this particular time, I was on parking lot duty and it was payday. I was sitting by the benches grabbing a breather waiting for more carts to wander out when one of my favorite coworkers happened by for his check. We sat out for a minute and talked. I went on about how today was just the day from hell and everyone was just super angry. Our boss was up to his antics as he is, and I'm just over it. As it happens, around the corner from the benches, a customer was sitting right there eavesdropping and confronted me saying, "You should be thankful you even have a job right now. People are struggling out there looking for work and here you are complaining about how hard you have it. You should be ashamed." I just uttered a thanks for sharing, have a nice day and left it, thinking nothing of it. About 2 days later, I roll into work and immediately get called into the office. I'm used to this by now, because the office is up a big flight of stairs and normally people in my job class get called up to the office to, say, ferry paperwork to and from outer departments because no one else wanted to use those stairs. Not this time. It was regarding a customer complaint. The very same customer that got on my case a couple days prior. She actually went through the motions of calling corporate and saying I should be fired for being an ungrateful employee when there are better people out there who need jobs. It thankfully didn't result in me getting fired. Corporate didn't look much into it, they just gave the customer the "Oh, we're so sorry, we'll forward this to the store manager and make it right," and it was forwarded to the store manager. The store manager, who I was totally cool with, just said, "Hey, I don't really care, but next time y'all are talking just keep it down and be cognizant of who's around you, okay?" Thankfully customers like that were very few and far in between. We had a few stinkers, sure, but most of the strife at my jobs was actually the coworkers. TSA destroyed my shoes. I just remembered this story today, but it happened about 8 years ago, about 2013. I was managing a popular shoe store in an outlet mall. This happened during a pretty slow time of the year, so I had scheduled myself to close alone. Customers were mainly coming into the store one at a time, and at one point in the evening this particular gentleman walked in. I'll call him CG for Crazy Guy. I welcomed CG into the store and asked the generic, "What can I help you find today?" "CG, I need a new pair of shoes, those at the airport destroyed mine." Me, "Wow, that's crazy. Did they get caught in the X-ray belt or something?" CG, "No, they did it right in front of me with a knife. I just need a pair for work right now." I helped him find his size and got him set up with a few pair to try on. He's being a bit picky for someone who just needs a pair to get him by while traveling, but it's not like I didn't have the time to give him the individual attention. He finally picks out one of the pair I had brought him, and he asks the price. Me, "This pair is $69.95. CG, "Of course you show me the most expensive ones in the store you haul." Me, stunned, "Excuse me?" CG, laughs, "I'm just joking, I'll take M." Me, "We do have a second pair for $10 promo right now if you liked any of the others as well." CG, "You cur." Me, "Dude, I'm required to let you know the promo. You don't need to take it." CG, "I'm just kidding. I only want the one." I carry his shoes to the register and ask if he needs socks. CG, I'll burn this place down. Me, did I say something to upset you? CG, man, no one has a sense of humor anymore. Me, so, this whole thing about TSA cutting up your shoes, did you make a joke about a bomb? CG, like I said, no one has a sense of humor anymore. I just processed his transaction and off he went. The guy just couldn't stop trying to insult or scare people. You'd think he'd have learned his lesson in the airport. Guy sues due to missing part and injury. A recent post I read reminded me of this little incident. Where I used to work, we had a customer come in and buy a table saw. A few days later he came in, saying his son's hand was injured by the blade because there was no blade guard. My manager at the time asked me to go find the same table saw, open the box, and check to see if it came with a guard. I confirmed they did, and told my manager with the customer standing there. The customer replied, I didn't bother coming to ask you guys, and didn't think much of it because I know some table saws don't come with a guard. At least from what I witnessed, this guy wasn't irate or anything like that. From what I heard, his son was an early teenager, very inexperienced with tools. My guess is he let his son use the saw without supervision. Me and my manager figured either the guard was missing, or most of the time, like I saw, it was taped into a styrofoam pocket and he didn't see it. The customer claimed he threw out all the boxes and foam. A few days later, my bosses are informed the store and the cooperation are being sued by the customer because of the injury his son got. My manager asked me to write down a statement of what the customer said regarding some saws don't come with guards. During the lawsuit, the customer would still come into shop and was baffled why he wouldn't get service. One staff member said, because you are actively suing us. We can't help you when you're taking us to court. I'm not entirely sure of the end result. All I know is my store was cleared by court of any wrongdoing, and it was then between him and corporate. I am thankful for my patience. I work at a large southern grocery chain as a cart pusher. I was pushing carts around 1:30 this afternoon, and a woman comes and parks her car right on the edge of the curb. The store I work at is big enough that it has 2 foyers. Each foyer has a metal door at the back of them that allow us to bring in carts, so we do not run into customers. The curb she parked on leads to one door. I can't get past her with my long row of carts, so at first I do the backup gesture where you move your hands sideways left to right. Most people get it and back up. She does not back up, so I finally start saying back up loudly. She eventually notices, and I get through. She has the audacity to pull up again and block the curb again. I do the backup gesture again. She rolls down her window and asks me if I'm having a bad day. Well, I was having a great day until I met her. She says she's not stupid and I don't have to do the gesture. She then goes on to talk to me in a condescending tone and used my name. I think we can all relate to how annoying that is. They think if they use our name they have some power over us. I tell her I need to be able to get through with my line of buggies all the time, and she's not allowed to park there anyway, because there is a large no parking fire lane sign. She tells me she doesn't care about the sign and she parks there all the time. I tell her the police will care. She then goes on to say she doesn't see any police. I let her know they come through all the time, and then I walk away. Good Lord, the ignorance. The worst part is these are the same people who will complain when there are no buggies in the foyer. Another customer saw what happened and told me not to worry about her because the sign clearly says no parking. I also have a good manager because he said if she calls to complain he will handle it. He cannot stand rude people. I do not know if she was a customer or not, because people do use the fire lane as a parking spot when the parking lot is full, but I do not consider her as one because she never left her car. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. Customer come in less than 5 minutes to close for something he doesn't need for days. This happened over a month ago. I work as a yard hand and delivery driver at a retail store that sells building material. About 10 minutes before our day is done, we go from one side of the property to the other, locking up all the storage sheds, gates, etc. It was a Tuesday or Wednesday, and we are less than 5 minutes from close. We are closing the last shed attached to the store, when a customer sticks his head out one of the doors leading into the store, asking us not to lock up yet, he needs some lumber. I asked him what kind, and he said he needed a certain kind in 8 pieces 7 feet long, but since we didn't have it in 7, he was going for 8-foot pieces. I tell him it's in one of the sheds we already locked, so I'll have to go get the key. We go into the shed where we have it, but we were out. I knew we had more, but it was in another shed, behind locked gates, doors, and buried under and behind lots of stock. So getting to it would take over 15 minutes. So the 2 co-workers who came out to help, I told them to take the 14-foot pieces we had, cut them in half, and that would give him the 7-foot pieces he would need. I go back to the store so the staff can properly update the sale. This point, it's a few minutes past close. So I go in, let them know with the customer there. The customer then said, well, if it's a hassle, it can wait. I don't need it until Friday, so I can come back and pick it up then. My jaw dropped. I was very close to saying, then why are you here at close? But I just bit my tongue. I just gave him a look, then walked out, as my co-workers finished cutting the wood and loading it into his vehicle.